Welcome to Construction Week India podcast. Today our guest is Mr. Dhaval Ajmera, the director of Ajmera Group and the former secretary of CREDAI MCHI. Welcome to our show, Dhaval. And I would like you to start today's podcast with your comments on how the real estate market has evolved over the years, because Ajmera has been in this industry for several decades. So maybe you can comment on how the real estate industry has evolved in India over the years.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And Construction Week has always been the forefront for the real estate industry, and all the technical know-hows about construction and real estate has been known by your magazines and your podcasts online. So it's great to be here. We as Ajmeras have been in this business since last 55 years. We've delivered 45,000 plus homes all across India, and Mumbai being our forefront. What my take is that real estate has evolved a lot over the last, I've been in this, journey since last 20-25 years, and I have seen real estate being involved in a very, very different way. People are more informed. People are knowing more technicalities than probably what they were knowing probably a decade ago or earlier also. But beyond known and information being passed on as a transparent thing, I think what has become very, very important is that the customer is very clear about what his requirements are and what the offering is from a developer. So, and if there is something variation in that, I think that becomes a non-tolerable item, and which is true to in fact. So, if let's say a builder is saying that I will give you a swimming pool, which most of the cases and 99.99% they will give, but let's say for an example it doesn't, then that becomes like a non-tolerable item. So, that's something which now the customer is more informed, more known about the things which is required to be there. And at the same time, the quality aspects, the requirement about how, what kind of finishes you are expected to be given in your own home or their own home, the finishes on the common areas, the amenities, the facilities, what you are going to provide. I think that information has become very, very key for a decision making and for them to know about how it will be there. So, to sum it up, I think evolvement of a customer from just a space to be taken to being more informed about its amenities, about its finishes, about the product, about the area. I think all that has become very, very informed way now, or a decision which a customer takes before buying an apartment, and that's we've seen a lot of evolvement coming to it.
2026 perspective, what do you see as key trends? Now you just spoke about customer has become more aware, more demanding. He knows many more things than earlier. So what do you see as your business priorities for 2026 and beyond?
Our tagline obviously is being built on trust, but we also believe in a very firm line of known as keep evolving. So we continue to evolve, and our belief is that as a company, although I may be a 55-year-old brand, I have delivered 45,000 apartments, but unless I do not bring what is new or what is in the trend or what is the requirement, probably I'll be thrown away, or I'll not be seen by a customer as a preferred brand. And I continue, I want to, I do not want to lose this opportunity, because that's the business which we built on. Right, so we always strive to bring new trends, new ideas, which is acceptable norms within the company and also as a market. And what I see in the next few years or the coming period, I think 2-3 things are going to become very important. A is space planning within the apartment. B is sustainable homes. And C is community living. I think these 3 will be the foremost requirement of any customer who's coming to buy apartments, and that is something which they will want to see it well, then only they will buy an apartment.
Interesting. You spoke about sustainability. What do you see a roadmap within Ajmera and even industry-wide for sustainability when it comes to housing as well as commercial?
We as Ajmera are clear that we want to make most of our apartments, when I say most, means majority and all of our apartments which we are building over the last few years have been on planned as per green homes. And that is what we are moving towards, looking that we will make green homes henceforth and going forward. Sustainability is the foremost requirement within our group. We are trying to achieve for most of our projects, if we can do a net zero uh, requirement within the environment, in terms of electricity, in terms of water, in terms of sewage. If we can really achieve, which within the city of Mumbai makes it more difficult, but we are trying to see what we can and how we can and make our projects as net zero projects. So that's something which we are completely focused on. Second, what we are also looking up is construction technology and how we can deliver faster product with a better finish. And third is community living. I think these are the three trends which we are extremely seriously following in most of our projects.
So you also spoke about the space management aspects within the property.
Absolutely.
How do you? So what are the trends that you see? What are the customer expectations on those?
So we as a company have always been, I'm very proud to say that as a company we always focus a lot internally within the apartment than externally, and that has been, if we look at any of our apartments, we will most likely be that we'll be most efficient planning within the competition as compared to what we have been providing. Our planning will be very, very efficient. Why? Because we do not, we give a lot of importance to the spaces within the apartment than the spaces outside. Because that's our belief is that 80 to 90% of the time a customer is spending within the apartment than the outside. So if I'm making him happy there, then obviously he will be more happier than as compared to others. So what we try to do is that if we are planning an apartment, we try to see we give very, very less, whatever area, let's say it's 1,000 square feet apartment, we want to see to it that most of the 1,000 square feet is utilized for a particular space. So that is either a bedroom or a toilet or a living room or a kitchen, and very, very minimal space is gone into the passage, because that's the space which is not being used. So that's where efficiency comes and planning comes in place, and that is what we work a lot inch by inch to ensure that we give more efficiency than how the customer will be able to utilize its own space as compared to what you pay.
Is it across the properties or it's within Mumbai, because space is?
All across. We try to make it all across. Bangalore projects are a little more generous as compared to what Bombay are, because that's the requirement of Bangalore. People want larger spaces, and obviously with the availability of land, the cost of the apartments are not as big as Bombay. So and the requirement comes with balcony and all of that. So that's where something which is, it's a given trend, and that's what people want over there. So that's where we do. But in Mumbai, when you do all of this, it kind of becomes A, luxury, B, I would say we spoil the customer, that eventually you're paying for something which you should really enjoy all your life, what you've invested your money in. And that's what we want to make.
The usable area should be maximum.
Absolutely.
That's how. Yeah. So about the projects, upcoming projects, can you talk about 3 projects that are your favorites? Of course, you will say all projects are favorites, but what are the 3 prime projects that you are currently focusing on?
So one project which we are really, really excited. The first one I would say is Ajmera Manhattan. That is, we are building up in Wadala. We again very, very proud to say that space, that area. As Wadala, as a micro market within Mumbai, we've evolved over that, and we are trying to make this today. And that was our dream, that when people talk about Wadala, it should be Ajmera. And I'm crossing fingers and hoping that's something which we fairly achieve that, and we continue to hold this space for a longer time. However, said that, we are what we are trying to do is that we are making apartments over there, and we are making complex because it's a huge space. We are trying to make it as a community living, and with the availability of space and the openness, we are ensuring that we are coming up with probably the biggest podium of Mumbai, or probably at least the central Mumbai, of 7 acres of podium living, where there will be no cars but only amenities and facilities of one podium of 7 acres. I think that probably in my opinion, would be the largest in the central side of Mumbai, at least, or and that's something which we are looking. And that 7 acres is going to be shared by only 2 or 3 towers or 4 towers, but not beyond that. So that's something which we are, that's something which we are really, really proud of. We are upgrading that entire complex in a very, very big way in terms of security, amenities, and all of that. So that's Ajmera Manhattan, which we are very, very excited about. Second, also one of the other projects which we are really looking forward for, and we just launched, is in Vicroli, Ajmera Solace, where we've got a great success. People has given us a humongous response, and it is now our responsibility to make them and show that what community living is in Vicroli. So that's something which we are working on, and that will be delivered soon. And the other one right now, one thing which is making we are changing and bringing up, which are one of our projects in Warsaw, which is Ajmera 1, which is where we have changed the narrative and we are bringing a new line within Ajmera brand as a luxury living, and we call that one, that is the forest, how we call it in Hindi, by Ajmera. So any project which is by Ajmera means it's a luxury project where the facility, the amenity will be up notch than probably what we would provide otherwise. So this is one of our flagship projects which we are doing in Warsaw, and that's a luxury line of which we are starting now, and that's the first one is coming up in Warsaw. So that's these are the three 2026 projects which we are really excited and working towards.
In fact, there are a couple of things that emerged based on what just you spoke about, the project that you spoke about. Vadala and Warsaw, both are the micro markets that you have been focusing on.
Yeah.
So I would like you to share your thoughts on perspectives on how micro markets within metro cities are evolving. You may talk about Bangalore also, you may talk about other cities as well. And secondly, the community living, which you are also focusing on. So these two aspects, if you can talk about.
So look,
you can give examples of Vadala and Warsaw.
Sure. So if you look at, when I say community living, if I am just taking you back towards when COVID had hit and people were stuck in their homes, I think the only space or only area which came into, everyone's savior was their own homes. And that is what, people realize, that real estate is something which, as an investment option, we should always have. We may have gold, we may have shares, we may have everything. But eventually, home is where it helped me save. I may have whatever amount of gold that didn't help me, but home helped me, right? So that is the importance of home. And beyond that, what we have also observed is that people want to now start, socializing a lot within the community of their comfort zone with security, safety, known, and all of that. So community living becomes very, very important, and people are ready to pay a premium for that as well. So in Vadala, when we started, 25 years ago or 26 years ago, our first apartment was sold at 1,800 rupees a square feet, 1818. And today, that same apartment or that area, I would say, we are selling at 38 to 40,000 rupees a square feet. So why is this happened? Two things. One is, the area itself has evolved in a larger way. I would say Vadala enjoys the best connectivity amongst the Mumbai transport region as compared to any other region. So it has a metro line, it has obviously monorail which was shut, but it had a monorail line. There are two metro lines, there is a BKC connector, there is an Eastern Freeway, there is Atal Setu, there is Eastern Express Highway, and obviously the railway station. I don't think any suburb of Mumbai has this kind of connectivity where every mode of transport is available to a customer. So that is where, today for any apartment or any project to become successful, there are three factors. One is connectivity, second is the community or the facility or the community living, and the third is the brand. When you have these three combination together, the project is bound to be successful. And if you historically see anywhere, you may take any examples of, let's say, Powai or whoever you want. These are the three factors which has actually made a project being more successful. So that is where we believe that today Wadala enjoys the best connectivity. Wadala, we as Ajmeras are offering a great community living with maximum open spaces and facilities and everything. And third is our brand, which has been established over 55 years. So I think that is where a customer feels more comfort in investing as compared to probably looking at. In fact, Wadala, I would say whenever we or probably even in your life history or whenever you've seen that, whenever you've grown in life, you may have progressed by moving south of your probably direction. So let's say if I'm staying in Borivali and I've progressed in life, I will probably go towards Andheri or Juhu. That's how my progress will happen. Or somebody is staying in Andheri and move towards Bandra. That's how progress happens. Wadala probably is the only place where people are coming from south to stay in this. Like somebody staying in Parel, somebody staying in Baikala, somebody staying in Matunga. Because if they want community living, they want safety, they all come over here in Wadala, which is north of their original living space, right? So that's the importance of community living and connectivity. And secondly, I would say that every space or every place, like even in Bangalore, wherever we've developed, I think gated community has been the most important factor, and that's what I say community living. I think that's the primus requirement for most of the people today, because sense of security for their children, for their parents, for their partners, I think is very, very important as compared to probably what they were probably thinking otherwise earlier. But now this all has become a trend. And for us as Ajmeras, we are also very proud to say that we've been, sort of pin code creators in Mumbai. I mean, back in those days earlier, there were lands which we have taken and we have developed as as projects or complexes, because of which the life came in, and because of which the pin code was actually created for that particular area. So Meera Road in Shanti Nagar, right? So, or let's say Manish Nagar in 4 bungalows. All these areas, life were created. We bought in 4,000, 5,000 apartments, and that is where people started actually coming in, and life was created, and a pin code was actually created. So
actually, Andheri also that area that you were referring to. In fact, you created one. You were one of the few builders who created that area for residential. So how has those micro markets evolved? As you said, today you are focusing on luxury apartments.
Right.
So how has those?
Versova Andheri has evolved over the time as one of the. Obviously, if you look at the trend from 1970s or 80s, when this actually growth of Versova or Andheri started. And from there on, that micro market has seen a good number of buildings coming up, or a community living coming up, or people actually accepting that. Most other thing happened was the entertainment industry, which really dominated that market. And third was the food and beverage industry, which is like F&B also, along with the entertainment, started coming in. So that became like a primemost hub, and it continues to still enjoy that hub. And if you really look at what Andheri was, or I remember back in those days in 1985, we sold apartments at 165 rupees a square feet. And from there, where it is grown and come, you can see that. And in that particular micro market of Andheri, that is Versova and Lokhandwala and all of that, I think we have delivered 5,089 apartments in that particular micro market itself over the last 20, 30 or 40 years. So that's been our growth journey, and we were very heavy focused on that. Now obviously different micro markets we work on, but we are very proud that probably we are the biggest, highest delivered projects or apartments in a particular micro market by one particular developer would be us.
What are the different trends? You also spoke about Bangalore. So overall, the 4 key markets that you are present in, what are the key trends that you see which are different from each other in 4 markets that you're Bangalore, Pune, Mumbai, Ahmedabad? What are the different trends?
So, Bangalore was always been more of a space gated community, those kind of requirements coming in. Ahmedabad was also growing from let's say a row houses to apartment living coming in. So people were also, now obviously there are many apartments which are coming, but I think the trend for apartments in Ahmedabad has started, in my opinion, in a very big way in the last 10-15 years. So they are looking at larger spaces. They are looking at, because somebody staying in a bungalow coming to an apartment, it's a big change. Mumbai, as I said, has always been evolving. As I told you about how community spaces and living has been. And Pune, we yet to start, but I know with the way it has been the highest, living space, or highest number of apartments being sold all across India is the Pune market. So the requirements is again the same. I think across India, 2-3 important factors come into space: gated community, most within planning efficiency, and sustainability and brand. I think these are the 3-4-5 factors which any project is now wanting to see, or any buyer is wanting to see before taking a job.
Luxury housing that you spoke about, today every builder wants to say that we are into luxury housing. So how does the consumer differentiate what is luxury, what is not luxury? We also come across interesting terminology that we are into affordable luxury. So can you comment on those? What exactly constitutes according to you luxury, and how do you ensure that consumer gets to luxury?
In my opinion, luxury is defined by 2-3 factors. The most important one being space. If I say I'm developing a 500 square feet apartment and call that as luxury, then it is not a luxury. I may say 500 square feet as a studio apartment, then I will say it's a luxury, right? But if I say 500 square feet and say 1.5 bedroom or 2 bedroom apartment, it's not luxury. So luxury is always defined by space. The larger the space you give, the more factors you put in within that apartment, that is luxury. Small things, like when we say luxury, we look at kitchen, service area of the kitchen, the servant room, the living room, the walk-in wardrobe in the bedroom, the toilet. I think these all factors, when you put it together, that is what luxury is all about. Where you give the customer every different space for its different requirements, and when you match all of that and you put it into an apartment, and that space will be called luxury. So if I just give a normal 3 BHK, but I do not have a walk-in wardrobe, I do not have a separate servant room, I do not have a separate service area for the kitchen, I do not have a balcony, that will not be luxury. That will be an apartment, right? That will be a mid-segment apartment. I would say a mid-luxury apartment in a sense, I would say. But when I say real luxury, is giving the real feel about all that. That is internally. When I go externally, is looking at very, very high-end service, amenities, security, sense of security in a tier, maybe 2-3 layers of security. Very, very, giving the best of the facilities within the complex. So like somebody wants to arrange a ticket, somebody wants to book a hotel, somebody wants to get some services. I think there's a team which is there available 24/7 for them, or all those factors when you put it together, that's luxury.
So interestingly, you just spoke about the concierge type of services that so here hospitality elements also are kind of merging with the residential. So branded residences is what people are. So what has been your vision about branded residences going forward, and what are your focus areas on this?
I think branded residences is something which will be the requirement for a luxury project. And if somebody is offering a branded residence along with a good brand itself, I think it will be the best what a customer can ask, because you are getting the best of the project from a known developer. At the same time, if a brand is being supported by a developer, I think the entire dynamics of the project changes in a dramatic way. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and branded residences will, because today, customer, as I said, is evolving over the time. It is wanting to have, earlier I was just more looking at my apartment. Then I started looking at my community space, how it is. Then I started looking what are the amenities available in that community space, right? then I started looking, how the customer is evolving. I'm saying that, okay, within my community, do I have a shopping complex? Do I have a school? Do I have a hospital? Do I have entertainment zone? Okay, that's something which my brand. Then, as the trend move forward, I also now start looking at what services can I get, which I don't have to move out, right? Because everyone is working today. Both the husband and wife are working. Both of my earning members are working. So how do I ensure that my house is taken care, even if though I am not around? And if I can actually not waste my time once I'm back from my work, looking at the small errands which were supposed to be done for the house, and rather than that spend some time with my family and enjoy it rather than looking at those errands. So if I can take care of that, I think that's the space where people are moving towards.
Interesting. Hassle-free living for the community.
Absolutely.
Interesting. So, now talking about the Mumbai market, redevelopment has been, the growing opportunity, probably few opportunities left, so maybe redevelopment is one. What are the challenges that you see associated with redevelopment? And you're trying to marry redevelopment with luxury. So, what are the challenges involved in that as well?
I honestly believe that, redevelopment is the only answer for Mumbai because space is always being constrained in Mumbai. And when people want to stay within Mumbai, and with the way the growth of Mumbai is happening over the last 5-6 years, if you look at how Bangalore, Delhi, Gurgaon, Chennai, Hyderabad, why have they grown over the last 15-20 years? Two things. One is obviously the IT sector which moved in. The other most important factor was the infrastructure growth, okay, which Mumbai lacked over the last few years. And now if you see the kind of infrastructure growth which Mumbai is having, I think next 5-10 years, Mumbai will see a different connectivity altogether. So like anywhere from north, south, east, west, you are within the 20-minute range, which is what any one of us would want to have. And that is what, and Mumbai obviously has its own space or love for, like, people would want to stay in Mumbai given a preference to anybody who's coming around, right? So I think Mumbai is about to see a good growth coming in. And with this growth, it will be supported if a redevelopment of those particular areas also happen simultaneously, and it's a good opportunity. The only problem now, what happens is that the societies and the tenants have started becoming demanding more as compared to earlier, and that's where the projects start becoming unaffordable, and then again we will start seeing a slowdown. I personally believe that maybe few percentages here and there. If somebody is offering you 1,000 square feet, and if the developer B comes and says, okay, I'll offer you 1,005 or 10, thus 5-10 square feet will not matter. But if a developer A who has been established, delivered, brand, always been committed to what he or she has delivered, I think that's the preference should be. And so that's something which, in redevelopment is most important to get. Secondly, what we see is that with this kind of spaces or redevelopment coming in, I think overall mindset of people also, should start, and I mean they are evolving, because as I said today, when I marry luxury and redevelopment together, as I said, for people who's looking to have luxury, will also have to see to it that the redevelopment people who are staying in earlier also need to shift their mindset to that luxury, because when I as a developer offer those luxury facilities and amenities or the spaces, it has to be for the customer or probably even for the tenant. So if that mindset starts changing, and which is for the betterment of the entire, it's an upliftment of the society, right? So that's something which will be the future now coming.
So you have been focusing on technology. So can you talk about what are the key technologies that you're bullish about when it comes to real estate, which will improve the offering as well as it will improve your processes?
So we as Ajmeras are looking at improving our internal efficiencies in a larger way. So when I say internal efficiencies, is something which how we can make a quicker turnaround within the organization as compared to probably what we were doing now. That is just not only looking at construction, but also our internal processes which will make the project start faster and finish quicker. That's where we are focusing our technology a lot in there. So maybe my sales processes, my purchase processes, my finance clearances, accounting processes, that may be taken with how can AI help us, how can the software help us, and how can we efficient, like we already have an ERP system, but how can we even make it more efficient to do this faster. This is one area where we are concentrating. Second area, what we are also looking at is when a customer comes in, how do I give him the best of the sales experience? Obviously, physical is something which we do, but in detail or digital wise, what I can make him or her understand better by showing them new technologies or new trends. I think that is something where we are also looking at. And the third obvious focus is on the construction technology by utilizing or seeing the new technologies within construction which will make the project deliver quicker but at the same time with a better quality. So these are the 3 to 4 areas where we are.
At Creda, I remember you were also talking about at a community level, as in the fraternity level. You were talking about PropTech. So
Yes.
what has been the adoption of PropTech according to you at the industry?
So PropTech is something where personally we are bullish and we believe that PropTech will become as one of the byproduct for the developers and the society going forward to efficiently manage the project. So maybe a developer efficiently manage the project while construction and society or the customer efficiently manage while living. So for them, these technology is very important. So like just giving as an example today, we were always looking at going and buying groceries when we wanted to do, or probably wanted to, we go and order food and probably go and pick up the parcel. Today we have Swiggies of the world, Zomatos, we have Blinkits for small things, we have everything today. Right? So everyone's adopting to technologies which is making our life more efficient. And hence PropTech plays a bigger role in these kind of things, where efficiency within the organization and efficiency while staying in the community living. I think these 2 factors will play an important role, and that is what PropTech will. Those projects which will have these kind of technologies available, I think that will be.
How optimistic are you about 2026 and beyond? As in, we saw a little bit of slowdown a couple of years ago. Where do you see real estate from India perspective? Any thoughts on budget? We focus on infrastructure.
We've always seen that India has been in the growth trajectory, and I personally believe that this will continue with the way we have been resilient over the world economic problems which have been happening, but where India has been resilient has been making its way out to ensure that the cycle of the economy churns quicker and faster, and it has been steadily growing. So I think that's the most commendable and creditable thing which we should give to our government. Second, real estate, I'm a firm believer, not because I'm into real estate, but I personally believe that what agriculture is to the rural economy, real estate is to the urban economy. Because that is where the maximum employment happens for any project. So if I am making one particular apartment, I am indirectly supporting 270 other industries or 300 other industries. Cement, steel, tile, textile, or whatever you call it, lights, all those 270 to 80 industries indirectly have been supported if I make one particular one. So that way I am generating a lot of jobs. Thirdly, roti, kapda, makan. So makan is something which we are completely emotional about, and I personally believe that every Indian would want to have some bit of real estate space within its own investment angle, and they will have maybe a plot, maybe an apartment, maybe office, maybe anything, but some small bit of real estate will be there. So I think this is the factor which I see real estate trend continue to grow, and it will grow over the next 10-15 years. I'm not too worried about the pricing. Some pricing may come up and down, but overall the trend of growth will be there, and we've seen that so far as the developer is not increasing the pricing dramatically, like today is 1,000, tomorrow make it 1,500, 2,000, and it steadily grows, I think the project becomes far more successful than what it is.
What agriculture is for rural economy, real estate is for urban economy. I think that's a very good sentence. And if growth of urbanization is the story, India's story today, real estate has a major role to play.
Absolutely, real estate is one of the key most and primest factor which will play a bigger role in making India more open.
Thanks, Dhaval.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming for today's podcast, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much.